Dom, how are you, buddy?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am ready for some Saturday Night Fever, uh, which is the
Who isn't?
movie. Yes, who isn't? Which is the movie that we said we were going to do, and so yeah, it's been a little while since I had actually revisited this one for better or worse. Um, and if you want to give the little intro before we go any further, uh,
Certainly, certainly. To all our viewers out there, I should let you know we had some technical difficulties before we started this, so
yeah, some
there
wonky
may be a
connection.
little lag and freeze.
And we couldn't figure out who it was, so we tried doing a few corrective measures. But just in
D-
case you see some freeze or lag, don't be
mm,
don't be surprised. Could
don't
be
be alarmed.
yeah, yeah, because we're not. So,
But in saying that, this week's movie on spoiler alert is the 1977 dance drama. That's its description on Wikipedia, a
wow,
dance
really?
drama.
Yeah, I never heard that one, but
Saturday Night Fever, starring obviously the famous John Travolta and Karen Lynn Gorney.
yes,
It's
um,
got actually a great cast, but
it's quite a
hardly,
cast. Yeah,
hardly any of them are known.
no, no. There's a few faces though that people are just familiar with. It's everybody, of course, knows John Travolta. Um, and really, in a lot of ways, the intro is, or the synopsis for this is kind of self-explanatory. Most people, if you know of this movie at all, you know kind of what it's about. But yeah, it's kind of the movie that cemented and made John Travolta as a movie star from his Welcome Back Kotta days. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this was his first big screen movie.
Yes, it was. And the movie actually it turned him from yeah, he was just a TV star. And really I don't know that anybody probably thought that he had the chops to do a role as a movie star until we saw his feet walking down the sidewalk with that famous you know, intro music that just really everybody remembers seeing him do that walk and eating his pizza as he goes along. Two slices,
I,
man, two slices. Uh,
I gotta say, this movie was a heck of a lot better than I thought it was. If I had seen this before, I absolutely did not remember it at all.
I,
But one of
I
the
was
great
wondering
things
if you had
about
ever
this
seen it.
movie is New York City.
Yes, yeah, it's so New York. It really is. Um, it absolutely. Yeah, I was wondering if you had actually seen it because I saw this at the movie theater and probably the old Newington Mall theater, and that's long since gone. But yeah, this movie is completely New York, and it's New York of the time too. Um, a surprisingly more there were things about this that actually like I didn't remember being quite as bad as it was in some ways because the movie is more. I don't want to just throw the word racist out, but there is some scenes that clearly are. It's areas. New York has always had these, especially back in those days and before. There were always these like really divided areas of boroughs that had it was Italian or it was Hispanic or it was black or it was whatever, Puerto Rican, whatever it was. It was it was areas that people kind of like you'd have gangs, you'd have people sticking to their own areas, and it could be dangerous if you were, especially if you were a kid, moving from one area to another and you walk through the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time of day, you would get your butt kicked. Which
As we will see when we review The Warriors.
right, right, exactly. Warriors come out and play. But yeah, so this has a little bit of that flavoring in it which I had actually kind of forgotten a little bit. And the other thing about this was there's a scene, and I don't even want to use the word because there's certain words, and I hate this about YouTube that they'll key on some words, and it's like you can get a hit on your video just because of the fact that you use a word, even if it's something that's not meant in any kind of, I'm talking about a scene. You know what I'm talking about? There's a scene in the back seat of a car,
I know exactly what you're talking
and
about.
there's like one and a half scenes actually, because I had forgotten about the scene where he, after Tony and Carolyn Gorney have the dance off where they win, but they win because of some racism and because of the area just being defensive of their people in the area. Um, they don't give it to the people that John Travolta clearly sees that they have these other people that are Hispanic, I believe, that have won it, and he's furious because he's like, we didn't win it. They were better than us. And they were like, no, no, you were better. And he's like, no, we weren't, and but he does the right thing. But then when he grabs his girl, or Carolyn Gorney, who's got a crush on, and he's like gonna decide to all of a sudden like show some kind of machismo in the back seat of the car. And it's you could say it's kind of like an attempted forced thing. So she knees him in the balls and kind of brings him back to his senses, but it's not before he's kind of done something that he shouldn't have done, like, or at least tried to do something that he shouldn't have done.
It's funny. This was a much more complex movie than I had considered. So much is made about the dancing. You
Yes,
just think it's a disco movie, but that's not really the focus. The disco is the distraction from the lives of quiet desperation these people are
yes,
living.
yeah. It's actually, yeah. There's a lot going on, and especially Travolta is like really being torn apart between his family, pressures of where he's a young guy that feels like he's not going where he wants to go. Um, Dancing is the only thing. When he gets out on the dance floor, he becomes a god on the dance floor. Everybody's looking at him like, oh my God, this guy's so talented. And it's and it really was of the time too, because disco had become, I was not a huge disco person at all. I never went out dancing. I was rock and roll. This was not my element or my thing, but I appreciated the dancing. I thought it looked good. The woman looked really good dancing, and it was, hey, if you could dance well, there was a real art to it. But
I never used to think much of dancing, and now, with as much as I've seen, dancing is probably one of the greatest athletic feats I can think of.
yeah, well, there's real athleticism to it, especially if you're good.
Travolta really worked for this role, and it shows.
Yes, he's amazing in the movie, and hey, he had dance skills, but you got to give it to him. He really did, and I think that's one of the reasons why he became the star that he did, because people were like, "Holy crap, this guy's actually can do something other than act like a little punk in a classroom."
His performance is nothing short of amazing in
Yeah,
this movie, but he knew it too. When he was looking over some of the scenes that
yeah,
they were editing out, he
right.
was mad when they did close-ups of him because he was so proud of his dancing skills. He wanted his whole body seen.
Right, right. Well, you like I said, you got to give it to him. I saw him on a talk show not too long back, and there was some female celebrity that like kind of like got him to get up and do. He's way older now, and he got up and he did a few moves, and it was like, holy crap, he's not in that same kind of condition that he was. Who is, at that age? But I mean, it's actually amazing that he could do what he still could do. Um, So, and the other thing, and I don't know, tell me if you got this at all watching this, but in some ways, this movie is almost reminded me a little bit of like a West Side Story, or talking about you mentioned the Warriors, um, almost a little bit like the Warriors in some ways because they had their friends, they were in their boroughs, the individual neighborhoods.
There are gang fights.
Yes, there actually are some fights. One of their friends gets jumped, and of course that
You
later
know,
turns. Yeah, go ahead.
what the main connecting theme when these movies you're mentioning
Sure.
is these are all movies where New York, the New York City, is an unwritten cast member, really.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, it's a huge part of what the movie is because um, I've never been like I'm not a I used to do delivery all the time. I used to do antique delivery, and I was in and out of New York once a week at least, and constantly in and out of Manhattan. And I got to know Manhattan pretty well, and and the outlying Queens, and all the different areas. And New York is really it's not my place. It's not my like I don't feel like I would ever be comfortable living in New York as a resident. However, I really can appreciate what New York is and the people and the people that make up what the city is.
I mean,
And
it's one of the most varied and vibrant cities in the world.
absolutely, it's so iconic of what a city is and can be. And
Mhm.
it's man, New York, when people say New York is like top of the world, it's, some of the best food you could ever get. Some of the best stores, it's a cool place to be. It's been a great place for cinema. Woody Allen has made amazing New York movies. And look at Scorsese, what Scorsese's turned out. And this movie is very, very New York. Um,
It's very new. You wouldn't have half the things that happened in this movie if it weren't set in New York City.
Yeah, yeah. And even like this scene behind me here, where he's walking down the street, and
Oh, that's
that girl,
iconic.
yes, she looks very much like a Puerto Rican girl, beautiful girl, and she's got that whole look and the whole way she carries herself. She's just power going down the street. Beautiful young woman. And when he sees her, he like turns around, he start trying to like follow back towards her, and she just looks at him like, get out of here. Yeah. And it's like I said, again, so much of this is just a part of what New York City is. It's so cool.
Just like the pizza.
Yes, New York pizza, you can say what you want, but New York pizza, man, probably some of the, if not the best in the world, and New Yorkers will say it's the best, if not the best, some of the best pizza you could ever find. It's
Mhm, mhm.
so
Do you know who that woman is that's
no, I
serving
don't.
him pizza?
No, actually, now that I'm looking at the scene, she looks familiar, but I don't want to say.
That's John Travolta's sister.
Okay, yeah, and she was in a few movies and TV shows. I remember Ellen Travolta, right? I believe
Oh, I
that's
don't
her.
remember her name.
Yeah, I
I just,
believe
I
it's
just
Ellen.
know it was both his sister and mother are in
Yes.
this movie.
Oh, I didn't know his mother was in the movie, but well, I didn't know she was either. But I know Ellen Travolta has been in two or three movies for sure. But and this, the scenes with the family were hysterical. That's such an Italian family. I mean, it's stereotypical in some ways, but it's Italian. And just the interplay between them. They're on one second they're fighting, and then at one point he upsets the mother, and she starts to cry, and he's like, "Ma, ma, like, I'm sorry, ma," right away because he loves they're very ethnic Italian, and it's real. It's kind of sweet because how they are with each other, and even his brother. He's got a brother that's a priest. That's another whole thing where his
Oh
brother
my
is.
God, that storyline where he left the priesthood.
Yes. Yeah, and well, what was kind of like a beautiful moment there, though was when his brother comes to see him at the club, and he's never seen him dance, and he really doesn't know, what it's all about with. And he sees him out there, and he's like, "You're really something out there. Like, you like you really got something out there." And he's trying to tell him like he's proud of him. And I don't even know that Travolta really realized how much his brother was trying to tell him he was proud of him. But yeah, there's some wonderful scenes in it. So I would say the most painful scene that I can say that's in the movie that kind of like I had forgotten about the scene, and that is Donna Pescow, who has a real bad case on Travolta. She ends up getting drunk and high on pills, and she's doing way too. The guys are telling her don't take so much. Well, she does, and then of course they take advantage of her in the backseat of the car, and she starts out, she's just like, yeah, yeah, she just wants to be with them, but she changes her mind, and that's what bothered me. Was I had forgotten how that much, because she starts to cry, and I'm thinking to myself, geez, it's like it changed the
It's tough
consent
to
thing.
watch.
What's that?
It was tough to watch.
It was tough to watch, and it bothered me. I did not remember it as kind of as painful as it was. So as much as I love this movie, and I think the movie has incredible dance scenes, it's got some incredible family scenes. It's got some fairly powerful. There's even some good humor in it.
So that scene that you're talking about with her in the back
Yes,
seat,
yeah,
and it's followed by them fooling around on the bridge,
yes,
by the
yeah,
guys, horsing around on the bridge
yeah,
that ends in one of their deaths.
yes, yeah.
Well, when they filmed that scene, they did not tell her that, by the way, that is Donna Pescow.
Pascal, yep, yep.
Donna Pescow. They did not tell her that there was a platform underneath the bridge to catch them.
Oh, because yeah, because I know
So
when they
when
were.
she came out, that look of horror on her face, that was real.
Wow, yeah, because in the movie, um, I mean, they're messing around and they act like they've fallen, and of course it's before they actually have the fall, but when that happens, you see that they're on this platform. But yeah, I did not know that she didn't in real life didn't know, because it plays well in the movie. That,
Yeah. And
but
and
yeah,
then when she said, "You fuckers,"
yeah,
I hope that's not against you too, but when she
hey,
said that line,
yeah.
that was real. That was not in the script. When she realized what they did to her.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you think about it. I mean, you you probably would, especially you see them come up and they're laughing, and you can tell they're on a platform. It's like wow, just want to kick your butts. But no,
When
I
she originally when she originally auditioned for that part,
yeah,
they thought she was too pretty
really,
to play that role. She
yeah,
gained 40 pounds for that
wow,
role.
wow. Well, I'll tell you what. As far as like Donna Pescow, I remembered at the time, because I was probably, I grew up, the late 70s, early 80s were like late teens, early 20s, and for me, so like this, I was not too far off from a lot of their ages and everything. I remember seeing Donna Pescow on television. She was in several, television roles. And I remember seeing her and thinking, wow, this girl is beautiful. And I saw her in that, and I could tell she was a little bit chubbier than what she had been on TV, but I always thought she was just really pretty.
She
Um,
was on an episode of The Sopranos.
yes, yes, yes. I do. I actually do remember that. This scene here where Travolta is because he's doing it, and again, this is almost like, in some ways, it reminded me a little bit like of a fight movie. He's when he's getting himself together for this, he's working himself up, like getting himself not only prettying himself up and getting himself dressed up, but he's also just, you know, making himself up like he's ready for a fight.
Mhm.
And it just
Well,
really
it's
reminded me
his
of that.
pre-game ritual.
Yeah, yeah. And what was hysterical was when he comes out in the hallway, he's in his underwear, and the grandmothers are like, "Oh, yeah." She's like, but so there was actually some pretty good humor in this also. But um, so what was your just? I'm not asking for your thumbs up or thumbs down opinion, but what was your reaction to the movie as far as
It
having never seen it?
I found this movie shockingly good. It
Yeah,
was, again, it was way more complex than I thought it was.
yeah,
The cast were phenomenal in their roles. They
yeah,
became
yeah.
those people.
Yes,
I
even
thought
for
this was really good all the way around.
yeah, even like you look at there's the brother, the priest that has left the priesthood.
And
And
I
by the
wish they
way,
hadn't made him look so creepy.
yeah, that's well, honestly, who he reminded me a lot of was the priest in The Exorcist.
Yeah, yes,
He
very
remind
much.
he had that same look, and I guess it was like, oh, we got to have somebody that looks like a priest. So, but yeah, he did have there was like some kind of a creepy look to him, but I thought he was really good in a very small role.
He was.
Um,
Yeah.
and the father was terrific. Everybody was real in their roles. Um, honestly, and I don't want to be critical of this, but I think Carolyn Gorney in some ways was probably the one of the weaker ones, and I still thought she was good.
No,
Uh,
I would agree.
and I don't want to be unfair saying it, but I just feel like I don't know if I was going to cast the movie myself, I think I probably would have maybe picked somebody that had a little more.
It's funny that they cast her to begin with because in what I was reading,
Yeah,
she had just been in a motorcycle accident a year
really,
prior, and it
really,
affected her dancing to the point where she had trouble keeping up with John Travolta.
I'll
In
bet. Yeah,
addition, in addition to that, some of the other people on with the casting thought she was too old, which
right.
she did appear significantly older than John Travolta.
She did, and because her character, really, when you start to see, and I noticed it even more so now, looking at that through older eyes, um, because when he first meets her, she is doing such a huge job of trying to impress him with her job, her status, and how sophisticated she was. Which you later see that her boyfriend was doing the same thing to her because she had a boyfriend and he was doing the exact same thing to her, putting her down and making her feel small at the job that she worked at. But she really wasn't sophisticated at all. But she was trying to build herself up. Oh, I had lunch with Eric Clapton today, and it's like, no, you didn't. But which does end up calling her on her bullshit after a little while. But I mean, obvious. But uh, she looked more like there's a couple of scene shots of her, from the movie behind me there. And if you look at her, she does. He looks like he's maybe even late teens, early 20s, and she looks more like she's late 20s. Um,
Early
you
30s?
yes.
No,
How
no, no.
did he?
Lisa and I were talking about it. Like,
Yeah.
neither one of us bought Travolta as a 19-year-old in this movie. We
No,
all
no,
thought
no.
he looked like 23, 25,
Yeah,
but she definitely looked like 29, 32.
yeah. And he probably I'm not sure his age at the time, but he probably was early 20s by then because I think he was
Mhm.
he probably was late teens when he was playing the Mr. Welcome
Right.
Back Cotter. But but he could pull it off a lot more just because he had a very youthful face. And in some ways, because he was so lean in this, he was down so lean in this movie and in such good shape. I mean, his face almost had a hawkish kind of
He dropped 20 pounds
I'll bet
preparing for this film.
yeah, if you look at his face, I mean, it's almost like I said, I described it as hawkish, but he just had this, but yeah, it's kind of. I look at Donna Pescow there and on the scene behind you and behind me, and she was really pretty,
She was such
and
a tragic figure in this film.
yeah, very much so. You felt so bad for her. I mean, she didn't deserve what she got in this movie, and so that was probably the figure that that bothered me more than anything in this movie because I was like,
Hmm.
oh man, and again, it wasn't even that Travolta was, but it really did bother me when he was like, "You happy now? You proud of yourself?" And it's like, wow, I mean, she was having such a bad night.
Yeah, really, way to kick someone when they're down.
I know, it's which he did when she does. He's got much more heart because when she rushed out of the car, he ran after her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. He did everything he could to console her afterwards. But at the same time, it was like, dude, really,
Well, I
um,
mean, these were presented as very real people, and very real people have flaws. None of us are
sure,
perfect. We lose our temper. We say things we shouldn't have,
yeah,
but then we realize it and we
yeah,
apologize.
yeah, and that's the thing. And if you have humanity and heart, then you try to do the right things. And he actually this night for him is a real growing night because
Mhm. Yes.
he not only sees a friend die, he not only like comes to a realization of like not just as much as he wants and desires the acclaim and the prestige that he gets on the dance floor, he's not willing to take it at the sacrifice of someone else. And he does something very, very, heroic by giving back the money and the trophy, um, and telling the people, yeah, you won. It's like this is yours. Um, and then of course he spends a real bad night riding the subway there, just all torn up. And
Do you know
and
what this
it
movie is based on?
no, what is it based on?
So, this writer, Nick Kahn, I can't
Okay.
remember what magazine he was writing for. Like it was either New York or Rolling Stone or something like that. But
Yeah.
he was given an assignment to go out and to learn disco culture and to write a piece about disco culture.
Yeah.
He knew nothing about disco culture
Huh.
and he couldn't get it. So he wrote a
Wow.
piece that was published called Tribal Rights of the New Saturday Night.
Huh.
And it
Huh.
wasn't till years later that he admitted he made the entire thing up.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, he wouldn't be the first one. But
But I mean, it's
you
a great
know,
story.
yeah, it really is. And I'll tell you what, if you were alive back then and you were at all aware of there was that movie 54 and there's been so many movies that were made about that 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 time and that time period when Studio 54 was the big thing. Everybody was trying to get into the cool clubs, the hot clubs, the happening clubs. And so even like smaller clubs like they were frequenting, they were swamped every it was like that was a way if you wanted to make money, if you had a good club, man, you could rake in the bucks. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're going to pass on Fran Drescher and not even comment?
well, I'll tell you what, that was one of the that was one of the things with this. I had forgotten that she had a role in it, and I remembered Um, I remember not at the time when I watched it, but after she got famous with the nanny, I remember hearing that she had been in Center, and I was like, really? And I did rewatch this. It was quite a few years ago, but I had rewatched it, and I was like, holy crap, she was in the movie.
I was shocked to see her there. She looks
Yeah,
really good.
she really does. She was a beautiful woman when she was younger. I mean, she really was. She's kind of known for the annoying voice with the nanny,
Yeah, but
but
that's an affectation. I
it
mean,
is. It is. And she did it well.
she
She
did it
she turned
well.
she turned that into a successful television series. But no, she's talented, and yeah, it was nice to see her in this. Um, but no, like I said, that's the thing. You said it yourself. There's a lot of faces in this. Some of them maybe not as, like um, Donna Pescow again. If you were from that time period, you knew her. And I cannot for the life of me think of his name right now. But the father, he was a character actor, and he was in a lot of
I've seen him
roles.
in a ton of things.
Yes, he was in a lot of roles, and actually a really good character actor.
That
But
is Val Bisoglio.
okay, yep, yeah, and I'm glad you had to say his name instead of me. But no, again, there were a lot of the actors that were in this. You saw them from different things, and not just Fran Drescher, who was. But yeah, it's a terrific movie for anyone. If you haven't seen this movie, um, if if you at all like movies with dance in them, you need to see it. If you at all like movies with that are New York and really the feel of New York, you need to see it. It's just it's a good movie. And like I said, the hardest thing I think there are a couple of scenes that are a little rough. Um,
But I mean, this is about real life. And
it
so you're
is.
going to have some scenes that are rough.
Yeah. And
It,
especially, yeah, it's, especially young guys at that time and especially from that era, just the way some of the behavior at that time. And I grew up during those eras, so I know how some of the guys were. Thankfully, I can say I was never like that, but I do know, there were guys that were, taking no for an answer, like,
yeah, but you're fixating on that one scene, and I get it. But
and
like,
it
there's
bothered me.
a darkness in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
There's the guy that claims he was attacked, and then after they hit the gang, he's like, "Oh, I don't know if that was the gang."
Oh, that was hysterical actually, because when he says that and they're like, "What?" Like he goes, "Well, it might not have been them. It might have been."
There's the brother leaving the priesthood, which
Yeah,
it looked like it was worse than murder for an
yeah.
Italian family.
Dom, honestly, hey, we're Catholic, and growing up Catholic, the one thing I can say, like I know with your grandmother, my mom, she would have been so happy if I had become a priest,
Mhm.
and I contemplated it uh, during some of my growing
I
up
don't think
years.
there's a Catholic boy that doesn't contemplate it at
Yeah,
some
I
point.
mean, it went through my head. It was, and I knew that was something that would have made her so proud and so happy. I couldn't do it, and a lot of it had to do with woman. It was the idea. It was like, man, I don't think I could.
That's a
I,
huge ask.
it's a real ask, but 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 yeah. So that in itself. But again, it's something, and for a mother who raises a son that actually goes into the priesthood, you're so proud of that kid. And it's such a thing for other mothers to say, like, oh my God, your son's a priest. And it's such a feeling of like
You,
accomplishment
you
and
you
like,
raised that kid right.
yeah. And that's the thing. And that's one of the funny things with here. He's sitting around the table getting ready. He's got the towel around him so he doesn't get anything on his shirt. The mother's serving spaghetti sauce, and the father's like, your mother's spaghetti sauce doesn't drip. Doesn't taste good, but it doesn't drip. But no, uh he was feeling a lot like um he was the one they were disappointed in.
Right.
Which he says it when his brother's leaving. He's like, he goes, man, I guess like, I don't feel so bad right now. He's like, you're the black sheep now. But but that was another thing about like the time frame. There was such a feeling of like there was a lot of questioning of all kinds of things, including like priests questioning their life choices, nuns were questioning their life choices of whether they made the right decision, and there were ones that left the priesthood, there were ones that left, uh, being nuns, and that in itself was considered such a sacrilege. because you took a vow, you took a sacred vow before God that you were dedicating your life. And
Hmm.
so, you know, again, now this whole thing with the paint store, there were a lot of really funny moments with that too, because he has to run, you know, that's the start of the movie. He's running across town to get this can of paint because they were out of a certain type of paint. And there he is carrying it. And when he gets back to the store, she's like, "Where were you? Where were you?" And
And
he's
that
like,
was his mom. That woman that he
"That
was
was
getting
his
the paint
mom.
for,
Wow,
that was
wow,
Travolta's mom.
boy, she did a great job. She could have been an actress. Well, she was an actress because she was in that role. But
Hmm.
the only thing that delayed him was her. But oh, and her. uh, but no, that scene when he gets back in the store though, it's so darn funny. And I know I've got the scene. I'll have to pull it up. But yeah, when she immediately says like, "Where were you? I waited for an hour," and
I
he says,
got
"I'm
you a
gonna,"
great deal.
yeah, and you can see the guy, the owner of the store, in the background. He's like, "Yeah, that's my boy." There, he's, uh, but yeah, because he had asked him, what did you have to pay for it?" And I can't remember what the price was, but he's like, "Wow, wait till he needs something." You know? But no, that like I said, it's terrific. It's just the way, and that was something they didn't even need to do. They didn't even need to pay as much attention as they did with all those little details. The stuff with the paint store was pretty amazing. It was, you know, you really felt like a sense of the owner and him. The owner really had affection for him, you know. But
So,
go ahead.
this scene,
Yeah,
the scene where the penultimate scene where Tony and Stephanie dance together,
right.
that was originally done to Boz Scaggs' Dirty Lowdown.
Really, really.
It was a hit at the time, and that's the music they used. But then they went to Boz Scaggs, and he didn't give them permission to use his song in the movie.
Wow, boy, big mistake on his part.
Oh, a huge mistake. It cost him, I think they estimated $5 million in
Wow,
royalties.
wow,
But
dumb, dumb,
it
yeah,
meant that
dumb move.
the musical director for the movie had to compose a totally different score with the same tempo
Wow,
because they
wow,
already had filmed the dance. They had to
wow.
make a music that would fit with it.
That's something else, and I didn't know that at all. Now there's John Travolta's mom
Yep.
behind me there, but no, well, you know, that's the other thing. The music for anyone who has never seen this movie, and I'm shocked that you haven't, but for anyone who hasn't seen it, the music is another reason to watch it. The music moves so well. I mean, it's disco, and it's, you know, not everybody loves disco. I at the time I like disco a lot more now. It's the feeling of like nostalgia around it now it makes it much warmer to my heart.
Well, it's also that, it's got some great musical aspects. You can look
Oh,
back and appreciate the music, but of the time, not only was it on the radio everywhere, it was almost too
everywhere.
much, but you also had to deal with the culture.
Yeah,
And there
yeah.
were some very annoying people that were, I mean, Disco Stew from The
Oh my
Simpsons.
God. Oh my God, yes. So yeah, and yeah, it's funny because I actually the one of the songs in this, and I never actually like totally realized I was kind of hearing when I was listening to the songs, and I was enjoying the songs while I'm watching the movie. One of the songs is, and it's by the Bee Gees, of course, they did most of the music, is "You Should Be Dancing." And I'm not going to go through all the lyrics, but here's just kind of the opening lyrics. My baby moves at midnight, goes right on till dawn. My woman takes me higher. My woman keeps me warm. Um, what you doing on your bed on your back? Ah, what you doing on your bed? And it goes on like that, and it's like,
That's
what?
poetry, Mike. Poetry.
It was cracking me up. I was listening to it, and I was thinking, what is he saying? And I actually looked up the lyrics because I was thinking I was hearing it wrong, and for some reason it just sounded so clear. when I was listening to it, I was thinking I can't be hearing that right. Well, I was, but no, it's like I said, the music is a big part of why this is so fun. Uh, absolutely,
Before I changed my slide, that suit, that
yes,
classic white suit that Travolta wore,
yes,
that sold at auction for $145,000.
wow,
You know who
wow,
bought it?
no,
Gene Siskel.
really,
He said Saturday Night Fever is his favorite movie, or said when
wow.
he was alive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Yeah. Well, again, it just goes to show you how much movies. And by the way, your brother, your brother actually had your mom. I remember this when he was a kid. He was a little kid, but he actually they were putting on talent performances at the school you guys were going to. St. Patrick's School, by the way. Shout out to St. Pat. But
I doubt St. Patrick's is still around.
probably not. Probably not. Although St. Thomas still is your
Oh,
old
St.
alumni
Thomas
of
is still around.
St. It's going strong too. It's going strong. Um, but still top rated high school in the country. Dom went to one of the better high schools on the East Coast.
It's good, but it's not top. Our biggest rival in that area was Phillips Exeter,
Yeah,
and
but
oh
Phillips
my
Exeter's
God,
yeah,
Phillips
Phillips
Exeter
Exeter.
makes St. Thomas look like a little hovel.
I know, but Phillips Exeter, man, that was like top of the world. That's pretty much anywhere in the country. But all the Kennedys went there. I mean, everybody
Yeah,
went to Phillips Exeter. But but no, as far as that suit, like I said, he actually did a disco performance. That's how much this movie was popular and ingrained. Everybody was, it was just a thing. So so yeah, I can believe that Siskel not only bought it but paid that kind of money for it. But yeah, the dance moves in this are just a huge aspect of why this movie's so fun and appealing. And it's not really a musical per se, but it is, and that's the real winners, by the way, on Dom's side there with the girl in the red and the yeah, they're the ones that actually they did the best performance, and they do an amazing performance. They had to have been. Do you know any trivia on them? Because they
I
had
don't know
to
any trivia on them.
they had to have been professional dancers. They were so good. They did kind of more of almost like a salsa kind of a dancing, and it was amazing. And Travolta's watching, and he's like, "Wow, they're better than us." And the friends are all like, "No, no, you're better. You guys were better." And it's like, "No." But yeah, like I said, it's fun that I was able to rewatch this. But
This movie captures such a snapshot of place, New York City, of time, of culture. It, it's so impressive in its ability to catch all that. And when I watched it, I felt like I was reliving this
yeah,
era, this time period.
yeah, yeah, and reliving it correctly because they really had the feel of what New York was like.
They nailed it.
Even the scenes when you see him riding the subway, that's how subways always looked back then. It was you took your life in your hands sometimes. Sometimes you still do, but on a subway. But back then the subways were dangerous. You never know, especially late at night. You just never knew.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, this movie was dangerous. There was some, shall we say, problems on the set. And
really,
when the production manager talked to some of the people in the neighborhood about it, someone said to him, "Well, it's a neighborhood thing. They want you to hire some of the kids."
yeah, yeah.
And so they had, I think they actually had some mob problems where they had to pay guys off.
I'll bet, I'll bet, and that's another thing. The mob was still much more active. Not that they're not to a degree now. Um, that never goes away. But yeah, you had to take care of your people. I
Well,
mean,
exactly. Yeah, you hire a few people, you improve the neighborhood a little, and
sure, sure,
everything's smooth.
yeah. Yeah, no, there's a need to take care of there. It's like hiring union people, except it's a different type of union. Um,
I
but
mean, it's
no,
just giving
it's
tribute to the neighborhood.
yeah, yeah. Hey, but no, like I said, in a lot of ways, I don't care what you're looking for with this movie. Um, you find a little something. There's romance. There's danger. There's scenes almost of it's almost like being in a movie like West Side Story or The Warriors. It's
This presented a very gritty reality.
yeah, yeah, and it's not just a light thing where you're looking at some kid that just goes out dancing. It's his whole life. It's his friends. It's his family. It's where he's going. So you get so much out of this. I mean, these scenes here, walking down the street, I was thinking to myself, man, this it was making me feel like I was watching the Warriors in a way.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
even
mean,
when
they
they're
got some
driving around,
great shots of the city. They
yeah,
got some amazing scenes of New York.
yeah, yeah. But like I said, I don't know. Everything about this made me feel a nostalgia for New York too, because I spent a
And
lot
New
of
York, I've never been to.
yeah, yeah. I dragged you down there a few times, but
Oh,
not well.
I've been to New York, but I've
Yeah,
never been to that New
true.
York.
I don't know that I ever took you to like Christie's and Sotheby's. Sotheby's is way up in it's right up in Harlem, and it's depending on the time of day you go there, the neighborhood can turn it can turn rougher. Although nowadays it's more gentrified. so so I don't know. I haven't been back in the. I honestly I stopped doing delivery back in like 2003. So I honestly the neighborhoods have changed as far as I know, I know it's gentrified a lot more where a lot of kind of wealthy people have moved in and it's like, yeah, you've changed the flavor of, the neighborhood, not necessarily to a good to a good degree, but but yeah, New York is a fun place. And it's again top of the world. The Whether you're going in there and you're hitting bagel places, some of the best bagels you could have, some of the best bread, pizza, Chinese food. Oh my God, some of the best Chinese food I've ever had in my life has been in New York City.
Yeah, if I
Um,
went to New York, the eating well would definitely be top of the list.
and I'll tell you what, you would definitely be eating well because it's like going to say San Francisco and eating food in a city like San Francisco, where it's got or New Orleans, I mean, come on, you're eating some of the best food in the world, and New York's like that. It's very much where you can find great ethnic food, which is one of the which is one of the terrific things about New York City. Um, but but yeah, again, like I said, you feel that it makes it if you almost have to buy a pizza when you watch Saturday Night Fever because it starts
Man,
out with
I
that.
didn't even think about that. That would be a
Yeah,
great idea.
it's like order of well, I'll tell you what, the next time I watch this movie, and I will revisit it at some point, um the next time I'm going to make sure I have a I have a New York style pizza.
Well, that's the thing. You have to look for a New York style pizza. Here in
Yeah,
Portland, we've got every style.
yeah,
Connecticut, New York, Detroit. And so you got to pick and choose which style you want.
well, Lisa brought pizza for us one time, and I don't know where she got it from, but it was pretty darn good pizza. That was in Portland.
Oh,
And
we've got great pizza, but again, finding the specific New York style is a little hard.
yeah, 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 because New York, hey, let's face it, New York's got they really have a certain type of pizza. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I said, I feel like if you're gonna watch this movie, that opening scene where he grabs the two slices like that, you're like, okay, now I want pizza. Because I didn't have it while I was I was it was too late. I watched it late at night, and it was like, man, I almost feel like I want to get DoorDash going, get some. Yeah, and that's another thing. You pulled that up. I saw that in this movie, and I was like, because that's after he takes the long subway ride, I believe, when they show that shot. And every time I see the World Trade Center, my that just makes my heart bleed. It's like,
Yep.
you know, it's weird because I remember seeing those going up, when I was a kid and or very young. And also like the first movie that I saw that I was aware of them was King Kong,
Oh
the one
yeah.
with Jessica Lange when King Kong climbs them. And every time I see, and there's so many movies that feature a shot of the World Trade Center. I can't see that without like, and in so many ways, the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building is to me like the look of New York. But man, the Twin Towers, losing those Twin Towers, it hits me in the heart. So yeah, I'm glad you pulled that shot up
Mm.
because it was something that I remember seeing when when the movie's coming near to an end. It's like, oh man, the World Trade Center. I'm just so conscious of it now when I'm seeing a
Yeah.
movie.
But getting back to the movie in question, Silent Fever,
Sure.
I'm not sure how much more I have to say about it other than two
Yeah.
thumbs up. I mean, I fully heartily advise anyone to see this movie. This is a great
Yeah.
movie.
No, solid two thumbs up. There's my thumbs. Uh, but I sometimes can't find my thumbs. But no, honestly, I it's a solid two thumbs up, and so much of it we owe it to John Travolta, a young Studley John Travolta.
Who really
And
put his all into that role? I mean,
he did.
he
He really,
is that guy.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, hey, it helped he was playing who he is. He's an Italian, very much an Italian, you know, from the neighborhood kind of thing. But man, it wouldn't matter. He could probably, he was so good playing the role that he played. He was perfect, and his dancing was impeccable. So for someone that I don't think he was professionally trained, I don't know how much
No,
dance
he took lessons. He practiced like 2, 3 hours a day.
wow, wow. Well, it shows. It does
Mhm.
show because he's so good in this. And when he's on, there's no hesitation on the dance floor. You think of like different actors that had to do dancing in movies. Someone like I remember like and at some point I really want to do Jailhouse Rock, the Elvis Presley movie. And when he had to do the dance scenes for the dance number Jailhouse Rock, the guy who was taking him through the choreographer that was taking him through the the choreography, he was like, I'm not a dancer, man. He goes like, I can't do this. And so he said, Elvis, I want you to move like you would on stage. Just move your body the way you would on stage. And I guess that was what did it for him. But Elvis wasn't a dancer in the way that Travolta was a dancer. Um, Elvis knew how to move that just made the audience sometimes go, oh, but because he had charisma. But Travolta, man, he killed it. He absolutely killed it on the dance floor. So you totally when you saw him on the dance floor, you were like, damn, it's like you can see why the people are because the people are just everybody's pulling aside as soon as he starts cutting loose. Everybody's pulling aside and just watching, and you could see because if he hadn't been able to carry that off, this movie would have flopped.
Yep.
So yeah, I think we both gave it the two thumbs up, and I also have to give it to that girl walking down the street because
I
man,
mean, this is a classic intro. The intro was fantastic.
it's so good that between the opening song and focusing first on his feet, the shoes, the clothes are perfect, and he's walking down the street and seeing all the New Yorkers passing him, and the girls going by, and him turning and looking and glancing and everything. And he's a young shark, in his prime. It's just a perfect scene for how to open the movie up like this. And so, yep, I think we've said all we could say. Um, for anyone who hasn't seen it, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's a good movie.
It's
We
a
haven't
really good
spoiled it.
movie.
We've talked about it, but we haven't spoiled it. Um, and there's sometimes we are spoiler alert, but
It's hard to spoil this because this is very much a slice of life.
yes.
It gives you a feel, and we could talk all about it, and it still does not convey the feeling of the movie.
Yeah, the music and how the music moves the movie. There's so much that just watch it. You need to watch it. So we heartily recommend it. I think both of us do. And so that we've said all we can say. Please leave a like, subscribe, and check our other stuff out. We always say that, or I do, or both of us do.
Yeah, well,
But
I always put links in with our videos, so
yes, and yeah, I count on Dom. Dom's the guy a lot of times does a lot of the description, does adds the links. Dom's kind of he's
I'm the
my
behind the
stalwart.
scenes guy.
Yeah, yeah. So Dom, it's your pick next week.
Yep, it is. It is. And the movies we've been reviewing, even this movie, they've been way too happy. We live in dark times, and we
Good,
need
good.
a
Yeah.
we need a dark, dark
Well,
movie.
we do live in dark times, so yeah, you're right.
So my next choice is going to be the 2011 film Kill List.
Hmm. I offhand, I don't know what it is.
No, I don't think many people have heard of it.
Wow, that's good. That's good. I'm happy you're pulling something a little more obscure out. Any places to send people to watch it or
It is on Tubi.
okay. That's great then. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's probably on other places. It's not a very profitable movie.
yeah,
And so I think the lack of profit makes it easier to find, but it's definitely on Tubi.
okay, cool. And do me a favor, because I'm old and senile, send me a send me a little
Yep, yep.
probe
No,
in my
there'll be courtesy texts.
yes. But no, I'm glad you picked something. I actually I miss when you sometimes don't pull up something that's a little more some of the fun ones that you have pulled up have been ones that not only have ones that I haven't seen, but also ones that were kind of a real pleasant surprise. So yeah, but we'll look forward to that next week, folks. We have said all we can say. So we'll just see you guys next week. And if you haven't checked this one out, check it out. You owe yourself a good watch on this one. But Dom, see you next week, buddy.
I'll see you next week.
Take care. So long.